Hey guys, in this part I'm going to teach you guys how to construct your lace closure wig. You're going to need a dome cap. I'm using a spandex dome cap, scissors, thread, curved needle, which is easy to sew with, and a canvas or styrofoam blockhead. And of course, your bundle and closure. So we're going to start off by sewing down the closure, and we're going to sew the closure at the edge of the dome cap. You don't want it to be too far up, and you don't want it to be too far back. Here I'm just showing you guys where the perfect place is. You can push it forward a bit as well. It wouldn't hurt the look of your frontal at all, but what you don't want is it to be this far back. That's just too far back. So you're going to use these tin pins to pin down the closure. I placed 2 in front at the edges of the closure, and also I'll be placing 1 on the back of the closure, and I'll demonstrate that now. Make sure that your closure is pinned flat onto the dome cap. You see right here, this is what you do not want. You don't want a gap within your closure. I'm just going to go ahead and take out that pin, hold it taut, and put the pin back in. You want to make sure your closure is flat and doesn't have any bumps. So before I start sewing, I usually clip or pin up the hair so it's out of the way and it's easier to sew. So I'm going to go ahead and use my needle and thread. I recommend using a curved needle because it's easier to sew through the tracks than using a straight needle. I'm going to go ahead and put the needle through, of course, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the thread as long as my wingspan, and I'll cut it off at the end that is still attached to the bundle of thread, and I'll make a little knot at the end. So I'm going to sew from the end of the closure. I'm going to put the needle through the fabric. Around the circumference of a dome cap there's an elastic band, and you don't want to sew through that because it will make your wig very tight, so avoid that area. You can usually tell if you're sewing through an elastic band because it's a bit more tougher to sew through because it's a lot thicker. So as I continue sewing, I'm going to pull the thread through the cap and the closure, and this will secure the closure onto the cap. Every time you pull the needle through, you want to make sure you pull the rest of the string through as well, and repeat that going up the closure. So now that we're almost done with this half, we're going to pull the last thread through. We're going to wrap the string, the rest of the string, around the needle 3 times. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, pull it through, and this will create a knot, and it will secure the string down onto the wig cap and the closure. You just can cut it off and you're good to go. Make sure that when you cut off the string, don't cut too close to the knot because you don't want the knot to unravel. Okay, now we're going to be sewing down the bundles, and this is the fun part. After you get the bundles done, you're done with the wig, so let's just get started. So I'm going to start off by pinning the bundle onto the edge of the dome cap. So as I pin this track down, I'm going to fold another track over the one I've just pinned down, and this is called double tracking. So double tracking is when you sew down 2 tracks at once versus just one track, which is single tracking. Single tracking takes a long time. I typically single track when I get closer to the closure so it doesn't look as bumpy, but for time's sake I always do double tracking. But do what you feel. And this is how it should look before you start sewing down. So we're going to start sewing, and the process of sewing is just the same as we did with the closure. So you just put the needle through, pull the string through the track, and repeat. As you continue to sew down the tracks, depending on where you put your T-pins in, you would have to just take them out as you go. Don't sew them down. Also, make sure to not sew down through the elastic band because your wig will be mad tight. It's just the same rules that apply when we sew down the closure. So after we are done sewing down the track, we're going to sew down the rest of the bundles. I typically use 2 fingers at the bottom half of my wig to create spacing within the tracks. When I get closer up to the closure, I'll typically use 1 finger spacing because I want it to be less bulky at the top and I don't want it to be a mountain. So I definitely recommend using 2 fingers at the bottom. Closer to the top, use 1 finger. Another method that people use for spacing is a white eyeliner pencil. I would definitely recommend this if you're a beginner and you're not sure where to space. And I'll try to make the lines even throughout the wig cap. This is just like a visible, oh my goodness, a visible representation of spacing, so it's a lot easier to see where you want your tracks to go. And just as I showed you guys before, we're just double tracking the wefts and we're just pinning them down.
I do with the bounce, maestro, OBO, bad hey. I don't dey looking for my far, I know say you go one go party. I don't dey looking for your eyes, girl. I know say you go one thing shy, yo. I don't dey looking to your eyes, so I know say you go one dance better.
So I decided to finish the wig the following day. One thing I didn't get to show you guys or didn't get footage of was closing off the track. So it's pretty much like closing off the closure. You just do 3 loops around the needle and pull and cut off the string. And it'll be secure to the wig. Y'all know the drill. The needle through, pull the string, and repeat.
Girl, you got to come over. And my body it do be walk, and I know if you hold on no more. She be the bum diggy diggy, and I go love and giddy giddy, love and giddy giddy, Yankee to giddy 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 giddy, no not to giddy 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 giddy.
So So here I'm just showing you guys how to fold over your wefts. So some people cut their wefts, so at the end of each track they'll just cut it off and then sew on the next. I usually don't like to do that because sometimes I like to reuse my bundles. So what I do is I just fold it over and then I pin it in places where I want the track to be laying.
I done the looking for my fat girl. I know say you go one dance. Oh yeah, dance is a vibe. It's a vibe. Oh yeah, move is a vibe.
So we're getting close to the end of sewing down this bundle, and sometimes there's excess left, which is a bit too short to go to the other end. So I usually just fold it over the track I just pinned down and sew it all together.
I'm all about the good life. Yeah. Nobody hating on this side. Fresh boy just they live life. Yeah. West side girl, what's up? Tell me where you want go. Yeah. Tell me where you want go. Where you want go, I go. Shake up, I'm diggy diggy.
So I don't know why I can't find clips of me finishing off the track, but it's pretty much like finishing off the closure. You'll just wrap the string around 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and pull the string and then cut it off. So we are almost done with the wig. We're gonna use this track and we're gonna sew it to the closure and also to the cap. So I'll show an example of that now. And with this portion, you want it to be as close to the closure as possible, as you see here. So as I'm demonstrating, I'm sewing through the track and also through the perimeter of the closure. So usually on closures, you'll see like a darker lining around the closure, so use that as a guide to sew.
One more time for I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me. I need a one dance. Starting to see in my head. One more time for I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me. I need a one dance. Starting to see in my head. One more time for I go. Higher powers taking a hold on me. I need a one dance. Starting to see in my head. One more time for I go. High powers taking hold on me. I need a one dance. Starting to stay in my head. One more time for I go. High powers.
And another tip, if you want extra security after making the knot, you can just tie it the string a couple times before you cut off the excess.
Powers taking hold on me. Time for I go. Time for I go. Taking hold. Taking hold. Time for I go. Time for I go. Taking hold.
And we are finally done with this wig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the rest of the track, and in the next video I'm going to teach you guys how to style your closure, how to get it flat, and how to make it look natural. Catch you on the next.
One more time for I go. Higher powers take